Sup, y'all? Welcome back to Original Gamers Podcast. We had, if you're out there hoping to listen live, we had some technical hangups, but we finally got those straightened out. My name is Patrick Ryan, otherwise known as Huge Cow Patty or HCP for short. And tonight I am joined by Joel Watt.
Hello, friends.
And Nolan is feeling a little under the weather. We hope that he's feeling better. Actually, we hope that he starts feeling better enough to come join us because this is his game. He picked the game. The game is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Could this possibly be the first time that we're going to do the game of somebody who's not here? Because we usually try and figure something else out.
Yeah, usually. But we just decided to roll with it this time.
Yeah, well, because we did the episode before this like a month ago, so we don't want to put this game off any longer than is absolutely necessary. Plus, the next episode is not going to be a traditional episode. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But before we do that, Joel, it's been a while. How you been? What's going on?
Oh my goodness, I have had craziest week. So we decided to implement a live video feed through ProPresenter at work because people were asking about it, like, oh, can we get Jason, our pastor, on the back TVs that we installed like at the beginning of the summer? And I had enough people ask me about it that I decided it was worth it. And just trying to get that happening was a headache and a half. And then today I've had problems all throughout the day. And as soon as the last service was over, I just said, hey, can you close up? Because I need to get out of here. And like, oh, yeah, go. And so, yeah, I came home and crashed. And yeah, and so I woke up maybe an hour ago. And yeah.
So a long day.
It's been a long week. I was actually there till midnight last night, just making sure everything was all plugged in right and secured, and we still had problems. So,
yeah. I've been very busy. The last weekend, I was in Jasper, Tennessee, up there with that's where Jimmy lives. I was visiting Jimmy and Josh Oddie, the other founding member of CrossForge Gaming, flew down and joined us. And we did, if any of y'all are listening, remember that show that I did where I interviewed, what was his name? Andrew Winningham. He's a professional PUBG player, PlayerUnknown's Battleground. He gets paid to be really good at video games. So I interviewed him, and as part of that series, which is called Across the Forge, went up there and interviewed a gentleman by the name of Chris Anthony Delaney. And it was a pretty good interview. I don't want to spoil too much because we're working on that and making sure that it looks fancy and stuff. But he lived a lot of his life as a homosexual and is no longer living that way. He's come to Christ, and now he has a wife and some kids, and he has this ministry, and he just wrote a book. Should be really interesting once we get the interview cut up and put out there. And as with anything related to that topic, it's probably going to rub some people the wrong way, but we'll see. I'm excited about that. So just real quick, does my video look really bad to you?
It's a little grainier than usual. I guess the bit rate is too low. You don't really tell when there's movement.
Maybe that's it, because I just did a speed test, and I'm getting 15, almost 16 up, so can't imagine that's it. But anyway, yeah. I don't want to spend all my time I spend enough time troubleshooting this dumb mic. I'm not going to mess with the camera. You can actually see me. What else? Oh yeah. So then, so I've kind of been recovering from that trip all this week. I'm actually really excited about this coming week. I'm making myself a schedule
Oh, dang.
which I need really badly. So that it's because I've been telling myself that I want to start trying to get competitive at Splatoon 2. You know, this thing,
Oh, yeah.
CrossForge Gaming, started
Yeah,
as
yeah,
a
because it's not like you don't have one of these.
yeah. So, well, it's just finding the time to sit down and do it, and so that's been that. And I want to get competitive at it because this CrossForge Gaming started as an esports thing, and I'm not active in an esport, and so I figured I should try and get good at one. Probably not good enough to make any money off of it or anything, but at least good enough to say, hey, I compete and I know what I'm talking about. But I just haven't done it. In fact, I think the last time I played was the last time I streamed, which would have been 2 weeks ago. And I got to character level 6. So I'm not even high enough level to play ranked matches yet. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I want to be able to dedicate enough time throughout the week to actually get good at it and proceed through the levels while also keeping it with Patty's Place Pathetically, which, by the way, some of y'all may have noticed there wasn't one last week. It's not because I didn't have one recorded. I did. I just totally forgot to edit it. And then Thursday afternoon comes around and I'm like, oh crap, I don't have P3 ready. So there just wasn't one. So, and that's another thing. So if I pick on this night, I'm going to do this, and on this night, I'm going to do this, and this night, I'm going to blah, then that nonsense won't happen again. All right. Before we get into Majora's Mask, a little house cleaning. It has been a month since this show happened. As I explained in that little update thing that I made, Joel and Nolan and we love doing this, but unfortunately, this is not our full-time job. This is not our life, at least not yet. I hope it is mine one of these days, but we're not there yet. So we all have work. We all have Nolan's in school for something, isn't he? I feel like
yeah.
So, so we're trying to make this work the best that we can. I wasn't super happy with having to keep the show closer to an hour by having it on Monday night. So what we decided to do is now it's going to be on Sunday afternoon. The exact time every Sunday afternoon will probably fluctuate by a few hours here and there. But that way we can go longer. We don't have to worry about time so much. And we're going to do it every other Sunday instead of every single Sunday. And hopefully that will give each of us enough time to come into the show a little bit more prepared. I also, like, as funny as doing an episode of the show where absolutely none of us have played the game we're going to talk about can be, I would much prefer that we come in at least being able to say, hey, I booted it up and played the tutorial.
Yeah.
So
if you want to listen to a bad episode, go listen to The Mark of Cry.
Yeah.
None of us played that or had any idea about it. And I picked the game because I wanted to play it, and then I never did.
Right. So we want to avoid that. So hopefully the every 2 week schedule will allow us to be a little bit better about that. Yep. And stay tuned till the end of the show where we've got a really big announcement. Got something really cool coming up in the next 2 weeks, actually. So with that, let's jump into this game. Nolan picked this game. Unfortunately, he's not here. Hopefully he'll come around. But if not, we'll have fun without him somehow. The developer of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is Nintendo EAD. Joel, remind me what that stands for.
I can't remember.
Is it like Entertainment Analysis? That's not right.
Yeah, I think that's right. Entertainment Analysis Division. It doesn't make sense in English.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't normally pair those two words together like that. So
right. Silly Japanese people.
Something is lost in translation.
Precisely.
But they are silly, actually, that I think about it. And Nintendo and Japanese in general are silly. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's very, very true. I like that they're silly. It's why they're my favorite console developer. Of course, this game is published by Nintendo because who else is going to publish it? The director.
What else does Nintendo have but Mario and Zelda?
Yeah, that's all they do. Every year we get a new Mario and a new Zelda game, and they're exactly the same. They just
every time.
Right. They copy, paste with better graphics. That's what they do. The directors of this game are, I always say his name wrong. Is it IG Onuma?
I've heard IG and AG.
AG
So
Onuma.
I don't know which one is correct.
There's not an A in that word. Can't be AG. No.
Usually the E's in Japanese are pronounced A.
Yeah.
So
AG or IG Aonuma, something like that. And Yoshiaki Koizumi.
yes.
Have we heard his name before? Surely we have.
Yes, I'm pretty sure when we did Ocarina of Time.
That would make sense.
Yeah. And because this pretty much is a copy paste of Ocarina of Time. Like we were joking before, like because that's the argument that Gramers make about Nintendo, but like this is actually true for this game.
Yep, and on purpose. It's not like they just tripped over it and was like, we'll just do this. No, this was on purpose. And I kind of expect this kind of thing to happen with whatever big Zelda game comes out after Breath of the Wild, because there's no way they spent that much time and that much money developing that game to just, okay, it's done, we're walking away, never going to use any of that again.
Just throw out every single asset. Forget it, we'll start over, which they tend to do, but this has been the biggest undertaking they've ever done. So
I would be willing to bet, though I don't know, because as far as I know, they don't release this information, but I'd be willing to bet Breath of the Wild is the most money that they've spent. The only other game I can think of that would maybe have come close to or beaten it would have been Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS, just because of how big that was. And I imagine acquiring the licenses to Mega Man and Cloud and all that probably weren't super cheap.
Yeah, so probably.
Yep.
So that would definitely be up there.
Yeah, surely it is. Joel, who produced this wonderful little gem?
Well, it is our wonderful friend Shigeru Miyamoto. We all know him and love him.
Right. He works for Microsoft making Halo, right?
Yes, that's right.
He's the reason Halo 5 was awful.
If you want to blame it on him, sure.
Sure, yeah. He'd probably take the blame too.
Yeah, he'd be like, all right, fine. It's my fault.
Yep.
Even though it's probably Phil Spencer's.
Surely that game was well into development before he took over for Don Matrick or whatever.
I cannot remember the guy before him. I was just not Microsoft.
Yeah. He's currently, I don't know if he's unemployed. Surely he works somewhere, but he's currently not with Microsoft after the awful launch of the Xbox One. Composers there's only one, the great Koji Kondo. Yes.
These are all names we know and love.
Yes.
Aonuma, Miyamoto, Kondo. Mm-hmm. They're the greats. They've been with Nintendo for as long as some of us have been alive. Or longer, actually. I think Miyamoto's been around since before they made games.
I want to say that's true. Yep.
And I mean, he made Donkey Kong, which was pretty much their first video game.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to have been with the company before then in order to say, hey, let's make a video game.
Yeah.
Just show up on day one.
About a giant gorilla and a construction worker. And his name is Jumpman. The construction worker, not Donkey Kong.
Yes. For those of you who don't know the lore of Mario, he was a construction worker first, not a plumber. And his middle name is Jumpman. Mario Jumpman Mario.
Mario Jumpman Mario.
Right? Because according to the movie, his last name is Mario. That's why they're the Mario brothers.
Yeah. I'd never heard the Jumpman's his middle name.
Yeah, that's something that Matt Pat from Game Theory said one time. He was trying to connect all the Mario games together with this crazy nonsense theory, like most of his theories are.
I saw that one, and somehow Luigi and Peach are someone's parents. It was weird.
So Luigi and Peach, supposedly, this is a different theory, are are Rosalina's parents.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what other nonsense is in that. It's like, yeah, they're like long dead, and so this is a different Luigi and Peach because it's been 100 years.
Oh,
yeah, whatever. We're supposed to be talking about Zelda.
That's weird. Yeah. But Zelda has enough screwed up timeline. We don't need to worry about a
right?
fake
Right?
Mario timeline.
like we knew that The Adventure of Link was a sequel to the original Zelda, and we knew that Majora's Mask was a sequel to Ocarina of Time.
Mhm.
Okay. But like it wasn't probably until Twilight Princess that fans started trying to connect them all. Like,
Right.
oh well, because like because that one is definitely a sequel to Ocarina of Time. Like it's got all the same locations in the same places, pretty much. Like, and a lot of the same themes. Did we cover Twilight Princess? I want to say we did.
Yeah, we did that one.
Yeah, and so we probably talked about that, and so they confirmed that pretty much all the games are spaced out by 100 years each. Like they said that one time, and then they're like, well, okay, and then now there's these multiple timelines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because forget logic.
Yeah,
and
then Breath of the Wild doesn't fit anywhere in that timeline. So
like the only way that it makes sense is if somehow the 3 branching timelines like all come together.
I think
know.
I think that because in the lore of that game they say that 10,000 years ago there was this advanced technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say that Breath of the Wild is definitely post-apocalyptic. You can see ruins everywhere, and ancient technology is more advanced than the current technology. So what I'm saying is sometime after the latest game in the timeline, and it doesn't matter which timeline it is, sometime afterwards, Hyrule had a technological revolution. And that's where you get all the Sheikah technology, like the Guardians and stuff. And then, 10,000 years later, Calamity Ganon shows up and destroys the world. And yeah.
It's weird.
So it doesn't matter which timeline it fits in. It's one of them, and it's post-apocalyptic, and it's tens of thousands of years later.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Exactly. You can throw out the timeline if you want to, or you can try and make it fit. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's just a video game.
Yeah.
None of it matters.
Just have fun, guys.
Right. Let's see. Platforms and release dates. This was originally released on the Nintendo 64 in Japan on April 27th, 2000. North America on October 26th, 2000. And in PAL regions on November 17th, 2000. You want to take the GameCube release?
Yes, so it had a re-release on the GameCube with the Zelda Collector's Pack, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
Which was that? I think that was the pack-in, and the Master Quest was the pre-order bonus
with Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I have the Master Quest. I do not have the other thing.
I used to have the collector's edition, collector, whatever it's called, and then I gave it away. But I have all the games on that collection now, so I was like, well, there's no need to rebuy it. So I went ahead and bought Master Quest. So,
yeah.
Yay! And I have the 3DS now, Ocarina of Time, so I technically have Master Quest on that too.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, but the collector's pack came out on November 7th, 2003 in Japan, November 17th, 2003 in North America, and March 19th, 2004 in PAL regions.
Indeed. So. And the game was later re-released for the 3DS. I just Googled it, so I only have the North American release in front of me. It's February 13th, 2015. And actually, for all I know, that was worldwide.
Yeah, by then, like all the companies were getting things done worldwide on the same day.
And depending on who you ask, this one is either greatly improved over the N64 original or not. Because there's some people that don't like... I don't remember what it is they don't like about the 3D remake. Maybe it's got something to do with the way the time works.
The way the time advancement works, like you can almost pick when you want to advance time to. Well, it's like a lot more
okay.
Specific. Like you used to just be able to do at the 12 o'clock hour, like on day 1 or 2, like you could go midnight or noon at any time, as long as you still had time left. But this one, I think you can pick like 6 hours in between, so you can do morning, noon, and night.
Okay.
And midnight. So, yeah, they changed some other things. I know the most egregious change they made, in my opinion, is the way the swimming works with the Zora mask. So, in the N64 version, you just hold down the A button and you move at top speed in the water, and you can porpoise like dolphin, and it's really fun, and swimming is great. And if you want to, you can use your magical shield underwater or standing on the ground also.
Yes.
In Majora's Mask, at 3D, you swim at about half speed if you just hold the A button, and to go full speed, you have to use your magical shield. So if you don't have any magic meter, you can't go full speed underwater.
That's stupid.
You can't porpoise properly, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why they did that. That's weird.
I don't know either. And
we'd have to
makes me just a little upset, but not enough to actually rage about it.
Mm-hmm. I guess you'd have who handled those ports? Was it Grezzo?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's whoever it is. It's the same company that made. It just came out for 3DS, like Ever Oasis, I think is the name of it. I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure it's the first original game that company has done, because they've typically just do ports. Anyway, if you never played Majora's Mask, you probably heard us say things like, if you have enough time left, or things about the masks that didn't really exist in Ocarina of Time. And you're like, what in the world is that about? So what sets this game apart, and it's kind of what makes this game so divisive with fans of the series. People either really like this game or they really don't like this game, which is kind of different from Zelda 2, which is really just, we don't like it. And maybe somebody out there is like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but most people don't like it. Majora's Mask, people are very divided over it. So big game mechanic in this game is that you have 3 in-game days to beat the game, and you can't do it in one cycle of those 3 days.
No.
So you kind of just do everything that you can in that 72 in-game hour period, which is not an actual 72 hour.
I think at full speed, it's around 4 hours, and at slow speed, it's something like 12.
Yeah. So you do everything you possibly can, and then you depending on where you are, you make a dash back to the bank, because there's a way to make it so that when you go back in time, back to the beginning of the 72-hour period, you still have all of the money that you had. I think you lose all your items, like pretty much, like you have no bombs, you have no arrows, or is there a way to save that stuff too?
You can save rupees at the bank, but every other collectible item gets lost.
Yeah. Okay.
So everything in your bottles, you keep your bottles and all of your quest items.
Right.
But anything in the bottles and any of the collectible items, the consumables, bombs and arrows, those kinds of things, they're gone.
Mm-hmm. And so what that means is most things that you did in that 72-hour period, with the exception of like the mask you get for beating a boss and other little things like that, but most things go back to the way they were at the beginning of that 72-hour period. So any plot points that you've explored, any side quests that you've done, I mean, you may get to keep whatever item, especially with the mask. If you got a mask for completing a side quest, you got to keep the mask. But you know, well, and like hearts, and you know, if you don't go back to 3 hearts every time you time travel, that would be awful. But yeah, so little things, you go back and you're pretty much resetting to 0, and which means that the game can have a certain level of repetition to it, especially if you mess up a side quest like I did, and I'll talk about that later. But yeah, you're working on something, you get all the way to the end of the 72-hour period, and you realize you forgot to do something, so you have to go back in time to the beginning of the 72-hour period, and you have to do all of that over again. And that's where it gets certain people. They're like, I don't like this. I'm not going to do it. But the people who do like this game tend to like it because the story is kind of jacked up.
The story, in my opinion, is really, really good.
I really like it. It's pretty good. Why don't you tell us what's
okay? So, a bit of trivia. The overarching theme of this game has to do with like death and grief. Okay, like one of the first songs you get is called the Song of Healing, and so there's this major theory that Link is dead. Actually, he goes into the Lost Woods to try and find Navi at the end of Ocarina of Time, and he dies. Okay, and so this is his journey to the afterlife, because all of the people that he met in Ocarina of Time are present there in Termina, which, by the way, Termina means ending. And yeah, and so it's like he's meeting all these people over again because he's now going into the afterlife. And you know, the whole idea of the time, he's only got so much time left, you know, because your life is a very short span of time in the grand scheme of things. And I mean, it even goes through a lot of the 5 steps, like denial, anger, you know, bargaining, the acceptance, or depression, then acceptance. So and I mean, you can look at these. So Clocktown represents denial, Woodfall represents anger, the Snowhead represents bargaining, the Great Bay represents depression, what's it, the Icona Valley, or Icona Valley, however you pronounce that, represents acceptance. Because if you look at those, like that's kind of where they are. Like I'm not dead. No, I'm just here in this nice little town. And or you know, I'm so mad that, you know, I have to go to this swamp, or you know, can I where's Waldo is apparently in the chat, making me laugh. But anyway, yeah, so it just goes through these 5 stages. I don't want to rehash the story 3 times, even though you have to in the game do it like 5 times. But yeah, and pretty much all of your transformation masks you get from the Song of Healing, and 2 out of the 3 transformation masks, you know, the character is dead. The 3rd one, it's kind of left open, or rather, the first one you get, it's kind of left open that the Deku Scrub you got the mask from is dead. But definitely the Goron and the Zora, they're dead. The Zora dies right in front of you, in fact.
Yep.
Like, that doesn't happen in Ocarina of Time, where an NPC just up and died right in front of you. Like, this is a dark game compared to other Zeldas.
Yep. And since you can travel back in time over and over and over again, you can make that Zora die over and over and over again. Nolan!
Hey, Nolan, welcome.
Nolan's here. How's it going, Nolan? You feeling all right?
I'm a little bit better.
You're a little bit better.
Yeah.
All right.
My phone died, and I didn't realize you guys had actually started yet. So I'm like,
yeah.
I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm not having a camera on though.
That's okay.
Fine.
We just have this goofy smile of yours, which is really fun.
Exactly.
I'm enjoying it.
I need to get a new picture.
Nah, I mean, unless it's going to be of you wearing your leggings, I don't see why you should change it.
Just specifically, just of my legs.
Yes.
That's my goal.
So, right, we're talking about the story a little bit, Nolan, and Joel mentioned, I guess there's a fan theory that Link is dead in this, and I just pulled up the goofy Zelda timeline that we were referencing, and I just want to tell all you guys who think that Link is dead that there's a timeline dedicated to Link being dead, and Majora's Mask is not in that timeline. So check yourself.
That's a completely different thing, though. The Link is dead timeline is if he dies during Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
Obviously, Link can die in the other timelines, and it doesn't have the catastrophic effect.
I mean, I suppose that's true, especially since Ganondorf or Ganon are not in Majora's Mask, and there's
Dorf is in this game.
What's that? No,
he was making fun of your pregnant pause.
yes. And actually, there's a few Zelda games that Ganon's not in, but they're not very many. And this is one of those games.
Skyward Sword.
Well, that's still like.
I mean, like Demise.
I was gonna go like Four Sword.
Oh yeah, Four Swords. She's not in there. But even in Skyward Sword, I mean, you look at Demise and it's like, oh, you're going to be Ganon one day.
Yeah, well, Demise is the deity that possesses Ganondorf, makes him evil. And, Ganondorf is just the avatar that gets resurrected every 100 years or so.
Yeah.
Right. Because otherwise, Ganon would have been a swell guy.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, you look at Breath of the Wild and all the Gerudo are nice people.
So. That's true.
For the most part, yeah.
They're not awful.
Except when they're fish egg thieves.
I said, well, okay, that's in this
pirates.
Game, yeah.
So that's
pirates,
when they're pirates, yarr!
So let's go into real quick our experiences with this game, and I already mentioned one of mine very briefly, so I'll finish telling that story. I got this game the day it came out, gold cartridge, all that stuff. Were all the cartridges for this gold or just okay? So
But did you have the hologram one?
Oh yeah. That's what it was. It had a little hologram that they literally just hot glued to the front of the thing, which was like,
I don't care.
Come on.
Well. Yeah,
it does look cool. But so I got that, and I played the heck out of it. I was loving it because it was weird, and the story was so strange, as we were just talking about. And even though you got to go back in time a lot, you can kind of like Groundhog Day. Yeah. When Bill Murray kind of gets into his flow, he figures out that, well, I can't do everything that I want to do in this 24-hour period. So I'm just going to, as I'm trying different things, I'm going to find the people who need this the most. And that's kind of the groove you get into of, going, I'm going to go help this person, and then I'm going to go help that person, and on. And of course, everything that you're doing, no matter who you help in what time that you go through it, you're working towards eventually saving pretty much everybody. Because what we didn't touch on earlier is that the moon is slowly coming down onto this world that you're in, because a little skull kid found a really disturbingly evil mask and put it on, and now he's a raging maniac bent on destruction. So
world domination.
Yes. I don't even know if it's really he's not really dominating anything so much.
No, he's just being a
right. So so there's all these side quests, and you get all these masks, and And as we talked about earlier, some of the masks actually transform you into things. There's a Deku mask, there's a Zora mask, there's a Goron mask. Is there other than the Fierce Deity mask? Is there a
Giant's mask?
one?
Kind of.
Oh, the Giant's mask, technically.
Okay.
Sort of.
Yes. And then the other masks are some of them actually, like the bunny mask. Does that still make you run fast like the
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but they're
Stone mask.
Little things like that. And if you collect all of the mask, if you collect all of the mask, you get this thing called the Fierce Deity mask. Isn't that how? Well,
you have to go through the little mini dungeon.
Yeah, after you've collected the masks, you have to trade them in so many at a time in the final area of the game.
Yeah.
And then once you've traded all your masks,
you're all out of masks here.
Okay.
You can have this one.
And there's a reason I didn't know that. And that is because there's a side quest that will take you the entire 72-hour period to accomplish. And that is to get the couple's mask by helping. What are the two characters' names? Help me out.
Anju and Cafe.
Okay. Yeah. And they're in love, and I don't really remember their story because it was a very long time ago when I did this. But
so, Cafe is the guy, and he has been turned into a child, I think by the Skull Kid. I can't remember.
Yeah, by the Skull Kid.
And so he can't marry Anju anymore because he's a child. So, anyway,
there's lots of that stuff.
Maybe not in a medieval world, but still. So he's just embarrassed that he's a child. Really, is what the game says. So. So Link has to kind of go on this epic quest. I mean, it's a side quest, but it's almost its own game to figure out like if Anju is still interested. Like figure out first of all what the heck happened to Cafe because he disappeared off the face of the planet, according to Anju and his mom. And then once they discover where he is, like figure out like is he still interested in marrying her? And then he has to get this item called the Sun's mask.
Sun's mask.
Yeah, the Sun's mask.
Yeah, because he had the sun, she had the moon.
Yes, because the sun and the moon are partners, and so in this world, the partners present a sun and a moon to each other when they get married.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. Yeah. So I'm helping Cafe do whatever it is he's got to do to become an adult again. And
he doesn't become an adult. That's a really sad thing.
Oh. Yeah. Well, that's depressing.
Yeah.
And I get all the way to I gotta be on the last step or two because
you're in the dungeon.
I think I'm outside.
The thief.
I think I was outside the dungeon.
Okay.
Wherever it is, I'm supposed to wait for. I'm pretty sure it was Cafe to get somewhere. Yeah. So I went there to wait for him, and I don't know what happened, but I missed him. I don't know if he walked by me and I wasn't paying attention or what, but whatever it was, I missed it and I couldn't proceed anymore. And I was going to have to start the whole thing over again to try it again. I turned my N64 off. I took the game out and I, to this day, have not played it since then. I was so angry about that, and so that's why I don't know how that side quest ends. And I also, I mean, other than the fact that I've seen the ending sequence on YouTube now, I wouldn't know how the game ends either, because I was just like, nope, I'm done, and I never looked back. I did think about getting the I still have the N64 card. In fact, assuming the battery pack in it still works, and I don't know why it wouldn't, because all my other N64 games still do. I bet if I put it in my N64, that save file is probably still there laughing at me.
The way the N64 game saves, if you just turned it off, then you would have lost all of your progress in the last 72-hour cycle you were playing.
That's true. So that's probably what happened then. But yeah, I thought about picking up the 3DS version and going through it again, but it's
pretty fun.
I just didn't. So,
I mean, they did change a few things in 3DS
fishing
that I didn't like.
They added fishing.
They added well, that's worth the $3, right?
I mean, the fishing, and then like, to me, I miss having the actual like clock on the bottom of the screen.
Oh yeah, it's just a bar.
The bar. I don't like the bar as much.
That's dumb.
And then like fighting the bosses, how now it's like you do the regular thing you're doing, but you have to hit the eye that pops out of them in order to damage them now.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Like fighting Goat or Got, whatever you want to call him.
Goat.
Like I'd hit him and it's like I'd get stuck on the wrong side of just like spinning as a Goron and not hitting the eye. And I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Really upset me. Or the freaking fish. Ugh. I hate that fish. It's the worst. But,
yep.
Yeah.
So, well, Nolan, you picked the game. What you grew up with this on the N64?
Yeah, I bought it I guess my parents bought it pretty soon after it came out. And I was playing it, and I didn't like this game when it first came out because, it only had 4 levels in it, which annoyed me because I didn't like side quests because, remember, I was 9 at the time. So I was like, no, I want to do the main thing. So it was like, all you do is like get masks as the main part. I'm like, that's dumb. Like, I think I got to the 4th dungeon, and I just kind of stopped because I got stuck because that last one's pretty intrinsic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then like later on, like people are like, I know this game's so good and all this, like hearing about it, I'm like, all right, I'll try it again, because it was on the Wii U or on the Wii shop. So I like played it again. I'm like, well, this is more fun, like in putting more time into the side quest because I appreciate it more. And I like this game a lot more now. It's definitely jumped up on the list. It's not near Ocarina of Time but I like this game a lot more. Same thing with like Wind Waker. That also I didn't like at the time, but like to the point now where like I was like you, I didn't know how a lot of those quest lines finished. I never beat the game. It was like one of the 3 Zelda games I had that I had never beaten. So it was like it was kind of a point like I need to finish this. And it's funny. So like I beat it the first time like regular. It's like I realized it was like Majora's pretty difficult. Like trying to just use Zora boomerangs and all that. Like trying to do that. Then like I went through again, and I made sure to get all the masks so I can get the Fierce Deity mask. And I tell you what, that thing is so OP. It's not even funny. It makes fighting Majora so easy, especially like if you have like extra magic just to keep the blade things up. It's like it's nothing. But
if you get the Chateau Romani where you have infinite magic.
See, I never did that. I always forgot to do that. But I get like 1 bottle of green potion or whatever, and that would last me long enough to where it was like, yeah, I just do that and just be like, wow, that boss is so easy. Which in of itself, the difference between like the Fierce Deity mask and Majora's mask, there's like a whole thing of lore just between the two of those two, which would take a very long time to explain. So I'm not gonna try and do that. But yeah, but I definitely have newfound respect for this game and what it did. Like it is very, very dark. Like, but there's so much
dark and brooding before the Dark Knight made dark and brooding cool again.
I know. Or like a Twilight Princess, which is like I think my second favorite Zelda game. That's why I like that, because I'm like, oh, this is dark too, like kind of like how Majora's Mask was, but better, in my opinion.
Yep.
But
so what you're saying, your favorite games are the Arkham games, right?
Oh yeah, my favorite games of all time are the Arkham.
Because they're all dark and brooding.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed. Joel, before we get to you, the fierce. So you can go fight Majora without the Fierce Deity mask. Having that, does it make the fight like super easy?
Yes. I have fought him with and without, and holy crap, is the Fierce Deity's mask so much easier.
Yeah,
so much easier.
You have infinite projectiles.
Yeah.
You're physically bigger. Like not just adult size, but like twice the size of an adult.
Yeah.
So like pretty much a giant, but not as big as the giant's mask. You know, you're not 50 feet tall.
Yeah.
Where am I going with this? So yeah, infinite projectiles. Your sword does like quadruple damage.
It's nuts.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That sounds like, and I don't want to get into spoiler territory because I know, well, heck, Nolan hasn't played the game at all, and I know some of our listeners haven't either. But if you go do everything that Breath of the Wild tells you should do before you go fight Ganon, fighting Ganon is almost boring because
Really?
it's so easy at that point. Like I'm just going to say I was disappointed.
Actually, I had trouble because I never used the shield block parry thing, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I never used that. And then I was like, you can get him down to like 1 HP before you have to use that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, I know that's the technique to beat him is just wait for his laser beam and shoot it back at him.
Which is what I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I never did that ever in the game except at Octoroks.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I didn't even get the timing right. I just happened to have the barrier thing.
Oh yeah, the
because that does it for you.
Protection, yeah.
Daruk's protection, and so like I had lost the cooldowns in the fight, or I had lost all 3 of them in the fight, and the cooldown was cooling down, and like it popped right at the right time. Like just I was like, desperation, and it pops, and I hit block, and it fires, and done.
Nice.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's all I had to do.
Nice.
So
yeah, Joel, your experience as a wee lad.
Okay, so I'm the same age as you, brother. So, I think I'm a few months older, in fact.
I think you are.
So I first rented this game when it came out. Probably about 6 or 7 months after it came out. Because when did this come out? Like November? So I want to say it was like October. Okay, so it was early spring, probably April or May. And my buddy had rented it, and he was playing it, and I went over to his place and I watched him play, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually really good. I think I might want to get it. And so then like a few months later, I was at, or maybe it was just a few weeks later, it doesn't matter. I was at my mom's for the weekend, and we always get like a movie and a video game rental just to keep me occupied for the weekend because she usually worked. But visitation rights. Anyway, so I played that game. I got to, I want to say I got to the Zora Great Bay Temple. That's what it's called. I got to the Great Bay Temple and got stuck and couldn't get past it, and had to return the rental. And then years later, as an adult, I buy the game, and kind of the same thing happened. I got all the way to the Great Bay Temple, and I got stuck again. I'm like, what the heck? Because there is a waterfall that blocks your path in Great Bay Temple.
Yeah.
It's going right over a ladder that you need to climb up to get to the next spot. And I had no idea that the ice arrows would freeze the waterfall, because in real life, ice doesn't freeze moving water. Like moving water doesn't usually freeze. Like waterfalls, it's very rare if they freeze over. Very extremely rare. Now, this is a video game with magic. Like, of course it would work. Like, when I think about it now, like, duh. Mm-hmm. But, like, at the time, I was like, no, my ice arrows aren't going to work on the waterfall because waterfalls don't freeze.
Well.
Yeah. And so finally what I had to do was look up a guide online, and it said, shoot your ice arrow at the waterfall. I was like, are you kidding me? And I had so little time left by then that I had to start the cycle over, and I was super frustrated. But I was committed by then. Like, I was like, no, I have to beat this game. And I also messed up the Anju and Cafe side quest the first time. I actually got farther than you before I messed up and had to start over. So when you get to the dungeon, you have to swap back and forth between Link and Cafe doing these different puzzles. Link is usually combat puzzles, and Cafe is usually some kind of block pushing puzzle on a Switch. So I got, I think, to the final room. There's like all these different rooms you go through. I got to the final room, and the whole time the Sun's Mask is on a conveyor belt, moving very slowly, and eventually going to drop into a hole, and you can't get it anymore. And I got to the last room, and I ran out of time. They dropped to the hole on the conveyor belt. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" It's evening of the final day. I just spent, hours doing the side quest, and I had to do it again, and I did.
Yep. It's bad.
Yeah, and the way this game's save system works, you can't just go, "I'll just reset the game and go." No,
nope,
it doesn't work like that.
Play the Song of Time and do it all again.
The whole
Yep.
thing again.
It's terrible.
Yep.
So I did, and I've actually the second, when I went through the second time, the next cycle, it was a breeze. Like, I was actually in the places I was supposed to be, waiting for things to happen because I was super early.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the dungeon was really easy, and then I cried when the couple's mask was revealed.
Dude, yeah. No, I did the same thing. It's freaking sad, dude.
Because you get really emotionally invested in the side quest just to find out that, like, they're gonna get married, but they're probably gonna die because the moon is falling on them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really sad. And then you get happy feels when you beat the game, because you get little vignettes for every mask that you collect. And so if you collect all the masks, you get the full ending. You get to see every vignette. So when you collect the couple's mask ending and you see couple's mask to get the vignette, it's the wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
Yeah.
But is he still a kid?
Yes, he's still a kid, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's a little weird. It's
WTF, Japan. So
yeah, that ending though, like when you get the couple's mask, it's freaking sad, dude. Like,
I'll never know.
So it's like, look it up. It's
well, no, you have to do it because you have to be emotionally invested. You won't get the feelings if you're not invested. Like,
go play it.
Yeah, I was so emotionally invested.
You got angry.
Said, "Forget you." I was also how old?
That evoked a different kind of feeling.
Let's see, 2000. So I was 16. Yeah,
I am 16, going on 17. Blah 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 blah. Don't know the rest of the words.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, let's be real. This game's just Ocarina of Time.
You're trying to make me angry.
No, it's not. No,
you wouldn't like me when you're angry.
It's not. Did we hit all the trivia here?
We did not. So,
okay.
Nolan, since this is your game, why don't you give us a piece of trivia that we've not covered? So I've got it highlighted.
What have you done?
So this is where we're at. So you can do that.
Okay, cool. Okay, so back when this game, or when like all the Zelda games were getting all these like HD remasters and things like that, there's a petition going around the internet, codenamed Operation Moonfall, which is fantastic, for Majora's Mask to get its own HD. Because I'm trying to remember like what else it had. It was Ocarina of Time, obviously.
Yep.
A Link Between Worlds is basically that. And I think Wind Waker had come out at that point.
Yeah, Wind Waker HD was already out, and I don't think Twilight Princess HD had yet.
No,
not yet. So it was like a whole thing of like, hey, what about Majora's Mask? We love this game, going around. And then it seemed like it wasn't going to. And then obviously, we got it in February of 2014.
2015. Yeah.
15.
And I'm pretty sure Miyamoto even went on record as saying,
He said,
"No, we're not doing this."
Yeah.
And then they're
Straight
like,
up.
liar.
And then it happened. But another cool thing is that in A Link Between Worlds, there's a little Easter egg for Majora's Mask. They got everybody like super stoked about it.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sort of. Then I don't remember if it's in. I think the mask itself is in hero mode. That like in the shop.
No, the mask is in the regular game.
Okay, it's in the regular one. Yeah, it's on the wall that like
Yeah.
you can like poof into the wall and go behind it. So haha, you're wearing the mask.
Yeah.
It doesn't come off though. But there's another little thing that in hero mode, if you go through and once you've bought all the weapons and stuff from what's his face, if you go through the little secret entrance in the back of the house, you'll find a note detailing about like he's going to some other land that of things that he's got 3 days to get there and stuff's going on. That
I didn't know that.
Yeah, cool. It's a little thing like because he's left the house, he's like cleared everything out, and you just see it in the back part of the house.
Mm-hmm.
You can only reach if you do that. It's
for those of you who are confused, he's talking about Ravio in A Link Between Worlds.
Yes,
that takes over your house and turns it into a shop. So.
Yeah, he just sets up shop like he owns the place.
I know.
Which
he still charges you for the thing.
If you play to the end, it'll make more sense actually.
Right.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense.
Oh shoot, I was gonna say something, and now I don't remember what it was. So it must not have been that important.
All right, moving on.
Yeah. Let's see. This game has the least number of dungeons, temples, levels at 4, which
I guess technically the moon is a dungeon too.
Yeah, but you get up there and you can just start the fight though. That's why I really included it. So I'm like,
Yeah, well, but if you talk to the other children besides the one wearing Majora's Mask, like you do get little mini dungeons.
Yeah.
So.
And if you consider that maybe the Divine Beasts are the only real dungeons in Breath of the Wild, I mean, unless you're like, oh, every shrine's a dungeon, but I don't know about
those
that.
are mini dungeons.
Yeah,
they're not real.
So Breath of the Wild's tied with it now, and they're completely optional. You don't have to do them if you don't want to.
Yep, you can go straight to Ganon.
That's so funny. See, when I get
use a pot lid. And
I'm just gonna go straight to Ganon right away.
I want to see somebody in the 80% speed run, just like grab a pot lid and then take off all their clothes and go to Ganon just in their skivvies with a pot lid, deflecting his shots every time.
Bam, bam, bam.
That would be hilarious.
That would be the best thing ever.
Like crazy naked Link.
And then the last bit of trivia, the Happy Mask Salesman, who is also an Ocarina of Time, has 2 interesting looking masks hanging on his back. One that looks a bit like Miyamoto, and the other one is unmistakably Mario. You can also find some terrifying mods of him where everything is Nicolas Cage's face. It's not official. Terrifying. It's not official.
Oh. That's like,
but it's a thing.
That's unofficial.
Yeah,
it's unofficial Nintendo release of just Nicolas Cage everywhere.
Believe it or not, that's not an official thing. It was a mod where somebody just I think the mod is that every face is Nick Cage's face.
I'm pretty sure it'd be really easy to replace all the textures with Nicolas Cage's face.
See, I almost want to say that it's every texture, but it's at least every
face. That would be horrifying.
That would be.
Because I'm pretty sure I think each of the masks on the Happy Mask Salesman is a different texture.
Yeah.
So it might be possible to replace all of those with Nicolas Cage's face. Right. Just each file you find and you replace that.
Just Nick Cage's face.
But yeah.
Scary.
You could also replace every single texture in the game with his face, and that would be horrifying.
It would be mortifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep.
No.
Nope.
Days.
There is there is a Super Mario 64 mod where they did something like that, and I can't remember what JPEG they used to replace all the textures, but I've seen it, and I'm just like, nope.
Just absolutely horrifying.
Like, my brain is not meant to work like that. Like, what I'm seeing is not right.
It's not okay. All right. I think anybody else got anything they want to add before we move on from here?
As far as trivia, no, and I kind of gave all my experiences. Oh,
Yeah.
well, actually, I can get one more recent experience. So the very first game I ever streamed on Twitch, besides a test stream, was Majora's Mask, and this is when Nolan and I really became friends. He hung out with me the whole time. It was great.
I think almost. I ended up.
Yeah, he
like
kind of petered out at the end, which is fine. I don't blame him at all. I've been up for 20 hours. I've been streaming for 20 hours.
Oh my word!
The day before,
I was like, this was the day before the 3D re-release of Majora's Mask came out. Okay, and
or it was the day of. I remember, because then midnight rolled around. I'm like, happy birthday to me.
Yeah. Oh, it was your birthday. That's right.
Yeah. And it was the day before my birthday.
It was, yeah, I'm not going to say it. But anyway, it was your birthday weekend. And so I started like the evening before, and I was like, oh, this only take me like, 5 or 6 hours. 3 in the morning, I had to leave to go get caffeine because I was dying. And I think Nolan had figured out by then. And I think I started in the afternoon. I had started in like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and yeah, it was like 2 a.m.
It was in the morning. I thought you started at like 10 or 11 in the morning.
It might have been like 10 or 11 or even noon. I started, and like I didn't finish until sunrise the next day.
Because I think because I went down like once you got to the moon, I think.
Yeah, and so the highlight of that stream though is the very first time I played this game, I did not know about the stone mask, and so I had to go through the Gerudo Pirate's Fortress without it. I totally went Solid Snake Metal Gear mode, just shooting them with arrows whenever they came by and running to the next hiding spot, and I was like, man, that was tough, but I did it. And nobody believed me that I did it when I told them later. They're like, no, that dungeon is impossible. You have to have. I was like, no, okay, fine. Now that I have a capture card, I'm going to prove to you that I can, in fact, do it. And so I did it on stream.
I didn't believe it. I'm like, you can't do that. No way.
That's awesome. And so I have videographic evidence that it is possible. The archive has long been deleted from Twitch, but I have the recording saved on my computer. And
that's the best.
I think I have it uploaded to YouTube, but it's really poor quality, and so I wouldn't recommend it. I might just stream it again for the fun of it, with my better streaming setup, because you see I got a green screen now.
Yes.
And
I noticed that. I was gonna say, good job.
Yeah.
And if you were using it to cut you out, you would have a giant hole in your chest.
Yeah, I know. I realized after I put the shirt on, I was like, oh, this is not the shirt to wear anymore. Like, I can't wear it.
Details.
Yeah.
It would be all pixelated too, because there's lots of dark spots.
But to
make the hedge block. But anyway.
I'm on How Long to Beat, and it says the main story, and that's without all the extras, would taken you 20 hours to beat.
Yeah.
So with the extras, 27 and a half. And if you're going to go that far, you may as well go completionist, because that's just 29 hours. So that's only another hour and a half.
And I remember another thing that I did. I had learned a little speedrun trick, how to get out of Clock Town without having to get a sword or be an adult. And I broke the game and had to start over because it was in that first 3-day cycle.
Oh, gosh.
You remember that, Nolan? Oh, no. Is that the video?
Yeah, I found it. I'm like, yes.
Please, no. Oh, gosh. Anyway.
As long as I thought it was, though. I didn't remember it.
Yeah, it took me a while.
Yeah.
But
makes sense, though.
Yeah, where was I? Yeah, so you can sneak out of Clock Town as a Zora. Not as a Zora. As a Deku.
I do remember that. And then you got stuck. That's right.
You can see, like, it's totally a glitch, right? And then I was like, I'm going to explore Termina. And so I went up to Snowhead, and there's a barrier that's missing. Like there's supposed to be a barrier blocking you, like an ice wall, pretty much. When you're a kid, Link, when you are Link, you get there, like, you need fire arrows to proceed. And it's just not there in that first 3-day cycle because they don't expect you to get there in the very first 3-day cycle. And so I went past the barrier, and I was exploring Snowhead for a bit, and then, like, the game just kind of locked up on me. Like, I could not progress anymore. Like none of my inputs were working. Like, I could move around, but I couldn't, like, attack. I couldn't interact with things. It was like I don't remember if I could even get back into Hawktown to finish the cycle. Oh, that's right. I couldn't attack, so I couldn't finish the cycle anyway.
Oh, yeah. No, we just kind of.
So I had to reset. Reset the console, delete that save file because it was corrupted, and start over completely. Like, yeah. So don't be dumb.
That's the lesson. Don't be dumb.
That's part of the reason why it took me more than 20 hours, because that first hour I broke my game.
Yeah.
I soft locked it. Yeah.
All right.
I know another soft lock for Ocarina of Time. It's really easy to do. It's hard to explain, but it's easy to do. Yeah. But anyway.
I don't know why you'd want to soft lock your game.
Because it's funny.
Oh.
Because
be like, hey, look at this really well-made Nintendo game. Ha ha ha! It's glitched.
You know, speaking of that, I'm trying to think. Nope. In the 100 or so hours that I've played Breath of the Wild, I myself have never experienced a glitch. I've experienced some frame rate dips, like once or twice.
They fixed that with the updates.
Yeah, they have been fixing that, but I haven't fallen
glitches.
Haven't fallen through the floor. I haven't had anything weird like that happen. So
you know why?
Because Nintendo doesn't mess around.
Nintendo doesn't mess around, and Bethesda had nothing to do with this.
I was just about to say Bethesda had nothing to do with it. Well, I was actually just about to say. So when people are like, well, you got to expect a game like Skyrim to have some glitches in it.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't.
I present to you Breath of the Wild.
Right.
Yeah.
And even before Breath of the Wild, how many glitches do you run across in a typical Grand Theft Auto game? Not very many. And they're there, but not very many. And they're just as big.
If you break down the code of the game, you can find them, and that's what speedrunners basically do.
Mm-hmm.
But in casual play, you won't find any.
Right. No. So.
But who's a casual? I mean, we're all competitive gamers here.
Labs.
Dark Souls.
All right, enough ragging on
Mario Kart 8 DX anytime, anywhere.
All right, Nolan, did you say you had the Metacritic score?
I do have the Metacritic
for this. All right, if you're new to the show, we play a couple games other than the game we were talking about. We play a couple games on the show. The first one is guess the Metacritic score of the game that we just talked about, and then the next one is 20 questions. So since Nolan picked the game, he knows the Metacritic score. Joel and I do not. We play it Price is Right style. If you're not familiar with Price is Right, basically you try and guess the score. Whoever gets the closest to it without going over is the winner of the game. There's no prize for winning. There's no punishment for losing. We just do it for the fun of it. And I'll go ahead and go first. There's actually a disadvantage to going first when we play this way. But I'll go ahead and go. So Majora's Mask. And before we go, just out of curiosity, is the Metacritic score? It's the N64 game, not the
N64 version.
All right. I'm trying to think. Well, it was. I mean, like I said, it was pretty divisive game. I don't know how well it was received, from the critics. I'm gonna shoot a little low and say it's got a 70.
Okay. All right.
We got Joel.
I'm going to aim a little higher with 80.
So, Joel, obviously was a little bit closer, 80. Do you want to guess again, just see how close you can get? Because you're both pretty far off still.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Well,
take a second.
I'll take it up to 87.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to go 90.
Okay. Well, yeah. So Joel has that. The score is 95.
Wow.
I know. I couldn't believe that.
Surprised.
I mean, I know Zelda games are usually well reviewed, but I did not think this game would get that high.
Yeah. Well, then what's funny is like I'm looking here like awards and rankings on next to it. Apparently, it was the #2 best N64 game of 2000, which makes you wonder what other game came out that beat it.
Well, not many,
#1,
because 2000 was the end of its life cycle, pretty much.
exactly, which is why I'm curious. But
Okay.
the most discussed N64 game of 2000, and the #1 most shared N64 game, 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Every single thing
wow,
here is
there
a
is a
10.
chronology of N64 games.
Yeah.
Whoops. Okay, so we're going to look at U.S. release dates. Working backwards, Polaris Snowcross, Donald Duck Going Quacker, Star Wars Episode 1, Battle for Naboo, Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine, Batman Beyond, Return of Joker, WCW Backstage Assault, Spider-Man, Banjo-Tooie, heck yeah, WWF No Mercy, Blues Brothers 2000, Hercules Legendary Journeys. Oh, wow, I forgot that game existed. I've seen Proton John stream it. It is terrible. Transformers Beast Wars, Midway's Greatest Arcade Hits, Volume 1, Ready to Rumble, Boxing 2, Mickey Speedway USA, heck yeah, Mario Kart hack. Actually, I think it's Diddy Kong Racing hack.
Probably.
Is Pac-Man Maze Madness? What? Tom and Jerry, Fist and Fury, Rugrats. Don't care. Let's hit the highlights. Hey You, Pikachu, 007 The World Is Not Enough, Majora's Mask, Cruis'n Exotica, Ogre Battle, NFL Blitz 2001 came out in 2000.
That might
Rush, San Francisco Rush 2049. That's a great game.
That is a good game. I like
Pokemon Puzzle League. A lot of competitive players still play that, actually.
yeah.
Mario Tennis, Kirby 64, StarCraft 64, Bomberman 64, Excitebike 64, Perfect Dark, Patrick. Worms Armageddon, yes.
Wow.
Let's see, Pokemon Stadium.
I didn't realize Worms Armageddon was on N64. Wow.
Yeah. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the N64 version, came out in 2000. Wow. Ridge Racer 64, Mario Party 2, the only one available still on the earliest one available on eShop, because Mario Party 1 will destroy your hands.
Yeah. And your friendships.
And yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bassmasters 2000 came out December 31st, 1999. So it didn't quite make it.
All right.
So against all those games, I'm surprised that Majora's Mask is only second, or is actually made it to second, because there's a lot of good games in that list.
Sure
I mean, I don't know what #1 would be, but probably somewhere between NFL Blitz, Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah, personally, I would want to say it's Banjo-Tooie, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No telling.
Probably. Whatever.
Quick way to check that.
It's not like we don't have the internet or anything.
Right in front of us.
All right. 20 questions. This is the part of the show.
One last piece of trivia.
Okay. Yeah.
I think. I had it, now I forgot. Never mind.
All right. If you think of it, you can interrupt our game.
Oh, okay. Now I remember.
There we go.
So this game was voted by, I can't remember which publishing company or which review company it was, but it was voted by the fans as the #1 game of the decade, of the 2000s. So from the year 2000 to 2009, in that 10-year span, this was voted #1. And most people forget that this came out in that span.
Yeah.
Because it was on N64. The reason why it became #1 is because of Zelda Universe, which is a pretty popular fan site They have lots of news and stuff about Zelda and walkthroughs and all kinds of stuff. They have like a wiki and and they're pretty active on YouTube and Twitch. Anyway, they had a campaign going to get this game to be #1 because when the same review site did best game of the 90s, Ocarina of Time did not win. And they were really miffed about it. So they're like, okay, we got to get a Zelda game to win. And, Majora's Mask is the most obvious one. So
what did win best of the 90s for that?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Because I don't even remember which site it was for. I just remember it was a bit of an upset because people didn't know that it came out in that span.
It was clearly Uniracers is the best game of the 90s.
Obviously.
For the Super Nintendo. It was a good game. Rockstar made that game. Or the company that went on to be Rockstar. Or maybe were they called Rockstar back then?
Yeah, they just weren't known for making Grand Theft Auto at the time.
Right. So okay.
Yeah.
We're ready for 20 questions?
I think so.
Okay. 20 questions. How this works, if you're new to the show, we do a rotation for who picks the games. It is my turn next, so I know the next game that we're going to be playing. My two esteemed co-hosts do not know what the next game is, and they have 20 questions to guess it. And really what that means is they have 19 questions to guess, ask yes or no questions for clues, and the 20th question, if they don't know by then, they just have to throw a game out there and hope that they get lucky. And I'm pretty sure on this show we've made it to that question number 20 and somebody's pulled the right answer out of their hat. So
yeah, we've also completely stalled out one time. We got to like 16 or 17 and just had no more questions to think of.
So
I just had to give it to you guys.
It's a good old time. So, and if you're in the chat, which we do have, we have a couple people. We have a couple people.
I saw NFX and someone else.
Yeah. So if you have questions you would like these two gentlemen to ask and help, go ahead. So, gentlemen, take it away.
Go ahead, Nolan.
Real quick, I just want to mention something I just noticed. So this is episode 64. I just noticed that the number of subscribers that we have right now is 64.
Oh, is it?
And this is episode 64. Oh my gosh. We got the trifecta going.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I just wanted to point that out real quick. So.
That's pretty cool.
All right. Take it away.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nolan.
Okay. Let's see. That's right. I got to do my thing. Let's see. In this game, do you have a not standard currency system?
No.
Okay. I gotta get my weird question.
Yeah, Nolan always asks a weird question, and I love his weird questions, even though it really doesn't ever help.
No, it did once. I remember, like it was something like something about their.
Are you a non-human anthropomorphic character or something like that? Like, that helped one time, I think, for Banjo-Tooie. But anyway, so is this a multi-platform game?
No.
Okay.
Did this come out prior to January 1st, 2000?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, just because it's still possible. Did this come out after January 1st, 1990?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a 90s game.
Cool. All right.
Most of the ones we pick are.
Yeah.
It was the best decade for video games. What can I say?
It kind of was.
Yeah, pretty much. Was this on the Genesis?
No.
Okay.
Was this on a Nintendo console?
Yes.
Okay.
Was it 6?
Yeah.
Yes, that is question 6.
Okay. Nintendo console. Is this on the Super Nintendo?
No.
Is this on the N64?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Back-to-back N64 games.
Heck yeah!
All right. Let's see. N64 is it's a racing game.
No.
Okay. I haven't done one in a while, so I figured it'd probably be a time due or something.
That's true.
Is this a third-person shooter?
No.
Oh no, Perfect Dark didn't come out in the 90s.
Wait.
I thought I had it.
Did you ask if this was a? You said third person.
Yes, I said third person.
Okay.
Is this a first-person shooter?
Yeah, I realized after I said that. I was like, I gotta save it away.
First-person shooter?
First-person shooter.
Okay. Is this a licensed game?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay.
Come
on, Nolan.
N64.
Yeah, there's only a licensed first-person shooter game.
Oh, licensed. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on.
See, I'm gonna say the wrong thing. It's gonna give me. Is this GoldenEye?
Yes, this is GoldenEye.
There we go. I think there's a reason you picked this.
Yes, there is a reason that I picked this, and that is because next weekend we're not having a traditional episode of, or not next weekend, 2 weeks from now, because like I said, this show is now every other week. 2 weekends from now, we're not having a traditional episode of Original Gamers Podcast. We are doing a charity stream, and it's called the Original Gamers Podcast Rareathon. Any guesses as to why we are calling it a Rareathon? Anybody? You want to throw that out there? Let's just
I know why, because I came up with the name.
That's right. And really, there's you could be thinking to yourself, well, it could be two possible reasons. Maybe it's they're playing games that are just rare and hard to come by.
Yeah, DuckTales 2.
Yeah, that'd be a good guess based on the name, but it's not correct. We are going to be playing all games made by the company Rare.
Or Rareware,
depending on how you want to look at that. So most of the games, most of the way that we'll be playing most of these games, I would imagine, are going to be through the Rare Replay collection on the Xbox One. Of course, GoldenEye is not on that because of licensing and stuff.
Yeah. But you have a capture card, right? So
yes,
and you have a copy of that game, correct?
I have a copy of the game. I don't have a way to get my N64.
Oh, that's right. Card. Okay, so maybe I'll buy it and
there we go.
And I'll stream it. I'm terrible at first-person shooters.
Yeah. Perfect Dark, the spiritual successor to GoldenEye, is on Rare Replay, so we'll definitely be playing that. We'll play Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie. Do you have? Because again, going back to me not being able to get old consoles on my computer, do you have any of the Donkey Kong Country games for your?
I don't. Goodness gracious, I'm going to be blowing my paycheck on video games and traveling.
Yes, and of course, those aren't on Rare Replay either. Them being Nintendo properties. I may be able to pick up one or two, as I have Donkey Kong Country 1 for Super Nintendo. I may be able to pick up one of those.
I think
like for Wii U. Yeah, I'm thinking they're on Wii or Wii U VC.
So if you can get them on your Wii U through the Wii.
Yeah, so I'd be able to stream some of them. If I'll have to see if they're in my budget for me to be able to do that. So yeah, anyway, that's what we'll be doing. That is going to start sometime Friday, September 8th, that night. When we nail down a time, we'll let you guys know. And it'll go into Saturday, September 9th. So starting September 8th, going into September 9th, we're going to be doing, it's a charity stream. And I'm just realizing the three of us haven't actually sat down and figured out what charity we're going to do. I can probably guarantee you that it's either going to be Child's Play, which was started by the Penny Arcade guys, or Extra Life. But those are both great video game kind of focused charities that we all like. So we'll pick one of them and set that up, and there'll be ways for you to donate and all that stuff. So during the live stream, I'm sure we'll take a break from actually playing games to kind of sit around and talk and do something of a podcast, because we are still going to need something to put up on the audio feed, and we're not going to want to just put 24 hours of us playing video games. That would not be would not be fun for the people listening on the audio feed. So yep, look forward to that. That'll be fun. This is something that we've all wanted to do for a while, and we're finally getting to do it. So tell your friends, come hang out, and all of that jazz.
Yeah.
All
so Rareathon, September 8th. All rare games.
Yes.
For 24 hours.
And there's, if you're not familiar with Rare Replay, there's some really old and weird stuff.
I have a physical copy of Jetpack, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, I think, isn't it just Jetpack?
Yeah, I think it's just Jetpack.
No, your Jet Force Gemini is that N64 game. This is a really old game called Jetpack.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's hard. I think it's on Rare Replay, and it's hard.
I'm pretty sure it is.
And so is Battletoads. Holy crap.
Yeah, Battletoads.
Yep. All right, let's do some plugs, talk about music, and get on out of here. Nolan, where can we find you on the internet if we would like to stalk you?
I don't know about that. You can find me at Baseman214, Baseman21491, or Icy White Falcon on various game platforms and some social media things like Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Pinterest, other things that I can't think of right now. Yeah, just if you're from this, just send me a message like, hey, I'm from this, and you're not just some random person, because I get that a lot, and it a lot of times ends up going to things that I don't want. So, yeah. So, yes, I'm on one of those three things.
Yeah, and
make a short story long or something.
All right.
All right, Joel, where can we find you?
All right, anywhere you can find me on the internet, you can find me under Obi-Watt Kenobi. That would be Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Nintendo, PSN, Steam, all those places. You can just search for Obi-Watt Kenobi, and you'll see me. I'm dressed as Jesus holding a lightsaber.
Nice.
Because I like Star Wars, and I look like Jesus.
You like Star Wars and Jesus, not necessarily in that order.
Yeah, it's like Star Wars, the Bible, video games, not necessarily in that order.
You can find me right here on Original Gamers Podcast, as well as Joel and Nolan. You can also find me hanging around CrossForge Gaming, the CrossForge Gaming Facebook page, which there are two of, the facebook.com/CrossForge Gaming, which you can also find by just going to crossforgegaming.com. There's also a community page, which has a lot of really cool people in it, including myself and these two gentlemen. That's at facebook.com/group/CrossForge Gaming. I am I'm doing some experimenting with Mixer, which is a new streaming platform. I want to say Microsoft owns it. And so I'm trying some stuff out there. So I haven't actually streamed to it yet, but I do plan to this week. You can find that at mixer.com/hugecowpatty. I'm also resurrecting my Facebook page, which separate from my timeline, my whatever you want to, public celebrity, yeah, whatever it is, the one that's just if you want to follow stuff about me, but I don't know you well enough to friend you. So you can find that. I'm resurrecting it. I've got a really cool picture of myself. It's me being blasted by a guardian from Breath of the Wild. That's my cover photo. So you should definitely go check that out. It's I spent all of 2.5 minutes on it. I just Googled Guardian and found one that had a transparent background. And then I Googled anime speed lines and found one that looked pretty cool. And then took my and an explosion. The explosion is either 8-bit or 16-bit. I can't really tell.
Oh, now I need to look this up.
Yeah, it's So it's facebook.com/hugecap. That's on my cover photo.
Yeah, I saw the notification when you changed your name.
Yeah, I changed it back to Huge Cow Patty because that I tried for a little while doing this thing where I was going to be really serious, and it just really wasn't working for me because I'm not a super serious guy. So I decided to go back to being silly. So it's back.
Yeah,
to
that's
Cow
totally
Patty.
like a Contra explosion.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. It's right out of Contra. So that was fun. And then so like I said, I'm gonna try and be streaming Splatoon. Of course, there's Patty Plays Pathetically that you can find on Thursdays here, and other cool stuff going around CrossForge Game. Oh, my next Across the Forge is
What is that again?
That is the interview show where I interview people that I think are interesting. It was going to be one guy. He's actually in the CFG community. Let's pull up Joel here. What was that? Put that thing back up there, Joel.
No.
Okay.
I was just playing with my amiibo.
Oh, your amiibo, yeah.
It's a Wolflink amiibo. I could be playing with my Guardian amiibo also.
You could. There you go. Woo! All right. Yeah, the next episode of Across the Forge, like I said, we're still editing the one of Chris Anthony that should be up soon. That wasn't done live. We did a whole pre-production and made it look fancy. Most of them are live though, so you can still find the one with Andrew Winningham that's on our YouTube channel. The next one, I had told myself I want to interview CrossForge Gaming community member Jenny Hinklin because she does really cool cosplay. And then while I was thinking about doing that and asking her, she went off and made this really cool ministry for single people who aren't looking to hook up with someone or that's not the right terminology I was looking for. They're not looking to date. They're not necessarily out there to get married. They're happy being single, and you don't really see that in the church. So she started that, and so I was like, oh, well, now I can talk about both these things. So I'm going to be interviewing her on September 11th, where we're also going to talk about how George Bush is the reason that the two towers fell. So that's not a thing.
I thought it was because of Saruman. And
I mean, it's Saruman, Bush. They're like the same guy, right?
Right.
So yeah, look forward to that. That'll be fun. And then the person that I have.
I did not hear what you just said.
It said, "Are you saying Bush is a wizard?" And
oh,
the answer is yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Don't you have to be intelligent to be a wizard? Like, wizard means wise one.
I mean,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look,
Legend.
the guy was a decent president for the first 4 years, but he's an idiot.
he I was about to say, don't you kind of have to be smart to be president? But then there's
no, you don't actually.
No, you don't.
We have
because our current president is a shining example.
I would imagine.
And let's not get political. Let's just move on.
No,
Anyway,
yeah,
sorry.
Anyway,
My
and
fault.
then the guy that I have lined up after that is also a community member. I won't get too much into that because I want a little suspense. But he is developing his own video game, and that should be interesting. So
I think I know who it is.
You might. So yeah, so Jenny Hinklin, look for that that'll be live on September 11th, and then the next guy will be about 2 weeks after that, and somewhere in there we'll have the Chris Anthony interview edited and posted, and that will be loads of fun. Alrighty, it is after 9 o'clock my time, so I need to get going. But before we do, Nolan, we got some music that I'm pretty sure you picked. So what do we got? What do we hear at the beginning? If you're listening to the audio only version, remember you can find that at ogcast.podbean.com or by searching for Original Gamers Podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or your favorite podcast app. And it'll probably be on our Patreon page real soon, which I should probably tell you that is at patreon.com/CrossForgeGaming. All right. The music is only on the audio version because YouTube copyright strikes things. Yes. So, all right.
YouTube has lost its mind recently.
Yeah, it kind of has. All right, intro and outro. What do we got?
Yeah, so for the intro music was what you heard was the plot device of this game. That is the Song of Healing, which is it's really pretty. It's nice. It's got that it's a little bit haunting and somewhat uncomfortable, especially if you've heard the backwards version. That's very uncomfortable.
I don't think I've ever heard it backwards.
You haven't heard the Song of Unhealing? Oh. Smooth McGroove did it. Go check it out.
Okay.
It had to do with the Ben Drowned thing. I didn't want to talk about that.
Oh,
So
please and no, thank you.
yeah. It was a thing. So it's just anyway. And what you're gonna hear now is kind of one of the last final like part of the thing for to get up to the moon. You have to get all four. You have to beat all four bosses, which releases the. I almost said release the Titans. What are they called?
Giants.
Giants.
It's called Giants.
Okay.
The four
Yeah.
giants.
Like the four giants. You release them, and at like midnight of the last day, you have to play this song, "The Oath to Order," which brings them around. They stop the moon from collapsing, and then you get up there. You can get transported. So, the Oath to Order is just, it's a very nice. It's kind of well, you'll hear it. I like it.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us. Remember, the show's down to every other week, and the next episode will be the Rareathon. So please come, please tell your friends, and please bring lots of money with you. Not for us. I mean, I would happily take your money, but that's not why we're doing this. We're doing it for the kids. So thanks for watching. We love you guys, and we'll see you around. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Be good, humans.